Chapter 16. Chapter 16 introduces kind of something new for the Beinoni. There are some who say that 16 and 17 are actually the long, short way of doing things. And then everything that comes afterwards is just going to be like 18 through 25, and then everything after that is short, long way. It doesn't specifically say that here. In the introduction, we spoke about you can take the long, short way, short, long way. So here, this is officially the long, short way, even though there's only 2 chapters for it. And then the short, long way has way more chapters for it. We're looking at something now, a different aspect of the Beinoni. Everything we've gone through, first 8 chapters, talking about our makeup, so we know what's going on. We know what tools we're dealing with. Then after that, we have to go into what happens once these tools are put into the souls, put into the body. What happens now? So the battling, what happens when this side wins, that side wins, etc. Okay, we finally got to the level of the Beinoni. What does this level actually look like? Someone who never sins. It doesn't mean that internally, as in their essence hasn't changed, but their garments are under their control. And this is something that everyone can reach because the garments being under your control means that your mind is in control. It means that your mind is saying, let's not do that right now. Stop. Your Nefesh HaBahamis basically acts like a toddler, and your Nefesh HaKis is supposed to be the adult in the room. Because the toddler is going to pick up a knife and be like, look what I found. Hey, look, scissors. And the Nefesh HaKis is like, let's put the scissors down. But it's so shiny. I like how it cuts. Oh, okay, let's put the scissors down. Toddlers, they're just all over the place. And they can be fun, and they can be innocent, and they can do things that are silly and dumb. And they cover the range of stuff, things that are dangerous. That's how they roll. The Nefesh HaKis is supposed to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's get everything under control here right now. We're going to keep coming back to the idea of the mind being in control. That's the ultimate that we're supposed to reach, is to just be able to tell either ourselves no, just be in control of ourselves. That is the ultimate of what we're trying to reach in Tanya. Again, this is something that the author Rebbe tells us, it's innate to us. It's an inborn character trait for the mind to be in control. So now we look at chapter 16. It introduces something kind of new. This is the rule for the Beinoni. Your job is, the mind has to control the heart. The nature that we have in the left side of the heart, which is the Nefesh HaBahamis, you got to control the natural impulses. How do we do that? Well, with the light of God that we have. Light of God that we have, that's the Nefesh HaKis. This is what a Beinoni is supposed to do. We go all the way back to the beginning. Who is Zusha? How do you find out who he is? You can do more than you think you can with the letter from the Rebbe to my uncle Mashiach Hech. You don't even know. Go speak to him. Find out who he is. So we are finding out who we are right now. You are someone that you have it innate within you. Your job is to just be in control. Think of somebody who has like a natural propensity for anger. What do you want from me? I want you to not lose your temper. I want you to not lash out in anger. I'm not even asking you to just nullify the anger entirely so that there is no anger within your soul. Obviously, that's an ideal state to be in. And we hope you can reach that. But where you are right now, just don't lash out in anger. I want you to bite your tongue. That is what I want from you right now. Well, how can you want that from me? This is how I was born, da-da-da, whatever. Okay, well, this is how you're born and blah, 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 whatever. You just limited yourself and stuck yourself in a box. And you're never going to get out of that if that's how you're going to be thinking. What did we learn last time? You got to take a step. One step. Do one thing different. Just change one thing. And now you're ready on the path to changing something bigger or to being in control or doing something else. So this is the rule of the Beinoni. How do we do that? We have to surmei ra, right turn away from evil, asay tov, do good. It takes a lot of meditation and contemplation. It's going to be hard work and a lot of study. We said from the beginning that becoming a Beinoni, going on this pathway of self-refinement is not easy. I was listening to a talk by Rabbi Yossi Jacobson today. He gave it a couple years ago. So he was saying that he had heard this story from, and I hope I have the rabbi's name right. I think his name was Rabbi Zev Segel or something. Siegel. Very big rabbi, active and very good person, all that, everything that he was into. So he said that he was once going somewhere, didn't specify where, I guess it was in the 80s or even before that, because he assumed it must have been to a communist country then, that he wasn't specifying. So he said he had gone somewhere and the Rebbe had called him in, I heard you're going to wherever you're going to be going. Can you take care of something for me? And the task, he gave him something and he said, okay, I'll take care of it. Consider it done. However long later, it comes to the Rebbe and he says, I want you to know, this wasn't an easy thing for Reb Zev to do. He said the Rebbe got very serious and he looked at him and he said something to the effect of, where did you sign a contract with God that said your life was going to be easy? Please God, our lives will be easy, but whoever said the life was going to be easy? I finally realized that when I teach the high schoolers and they started giving me, they're like, you can be anything you want to be. And I'm like, no, you can't. Let's stop telling that lie. We can tell people that you can work hard and that work is worth something. You may not become the best chef ever, but you will gain a lot by having done that. But no, you can't be. You absolutely cannot. I'm looking at her, I'm like, I will never be faster than Usain Bolt. Unless you have him in a wheelchair. Even then, who knows? I'll probably be faster. I can work as hard as I want. I will never be faster than him. And guess what? That's fine, because I'm not supposed to be faster than him. The point is, no one ever said life was going to be easy. It's just we want life to be easy, so we've decided that that's how it's going to be. And we don't have to go into details about how, think of all the creative types that we have in the world and all the greatest stories you've ever seen or read, and then think about the one who created all that. So God's very creative is what we're getting at. Yeah, he has his ways. Oh, let's find a new challenge for you today. And you're like, I didn't even know that this existed before. Why is this a thing for me now? The point that Rebbe Jacobson was making is that as soon as you accept it, you can transcend it. As long as you're in denial of it, then you're just your whole life, you're just trying to repress your frustration or anger or basically your denial. So it hamstrings you when you're in denial of the way it's supposed to be. Here, we're not in denial of the hard work that has to go into becoming either Beinoni, just even a small part of self-refinement, even just taking the one step out of 100. We're not in denial of it. We know it's very, very hard. How many times do you have to say it? It's hard. It's very hard. But the point is not how hard it is. The point is the fact that you can actually engage in it. Any amount of genuine effort that you put into it is worthwhile. It's worthy to do this. The Alter Rebbe is telling us, whatever you've got going on in your life, and however God created you, whatever your thing is, you do not have to be controlled by it. You don't have to be owned by it. You can actually control it. If not, if you don't even have the capacity to do that, then what do you want from someone? What do you want from me? What I want from you is to transcend. I was listening to Rabbi Gordon also speaking about this, and he used to have like a 3-pack a day smoking habit or something like that. He kicked the habit, but he said, I think we call it a habit. He said it was an addiction. And then he started looking into what really goes on with cigarettes and the tobacco companies, putting addicted, whatever. So he said, when I finally started to realize, or for him at least it worked, it wasn't just something that was just pleasurable to me, but it was something that became an addiction that I had been, I guess you could say, like trapped into this addiction. He doesn't use these words, but basically he said, when I realized I was trapped into this addiction, that I wanted to get rid of it. I didn't want it anymore because I wasn't the one controlling more. My addiction was in control. I didn't want to be subservient to my addiction. He used the word addiction, and you could put in anything there that we don't stop ourselves from. Well, I'm not addicted to anything. Fine, whatever. There's something, usually something that we don't stop ourselves from. And the truth is it can be something with emotion, it can be something without emotion. Sometimes we don't try to fight our own apathy. That's a different kind of level of things that we don't fight against. And apathy is one of the most dangerous things of all. At least if you're feeling something, that means that we could do something with your emotion. You don't have a feeling about something you don't care about. But apathy, how do you fight apathy? You can't. It's just nothingness. We get to that. Apathy is in chapters 30, 31. The short story is, how do you set fire to a log? You can't. It's not going to catch. You have to break a log in order to set fire to it. So the way you fight apathy is it's very intensive. Basically, you have to break yourself. It's a whole process of belittlement, very intense. Basically what apathy does, it creates a blockage, so you have to fight through the blockage. Talks about depression also. We're going to get to it. I was very intimidated by the chapters, and my father was like, do you understand what's going on here? That the Alter Rebbe was talking about this stuff in the 1700s. Do you even understand how amazing this stuff is? Anything that's going to be told off, it's also, you have to be willing to swallow the pill. Because it's going to be like, this is what it's got to do. And you're going to be like, no, I don't like this. You get to all those chapters. But don't put the cart in front of the horse. Chabad starts with that, goes 26, 27, 28 is Mirus versus Atzvos, and it's material things versus spiritual things. 29, 30, 31 deal with apathy, because then 32 is obviously Yisrael, which people say it's a random chapter, but I actually think it fits in because of where you have to get yourself in the apathy stage. They call it Timtum Alev, dullness of the heart. So Timtum Alev, where you have to get yourself there, I think that's a setup to Avos Yisrael. Kind of shoehorned in, but I think it's also not. I see that there's a flow to it. Anyway, we get to it. We get to all of them. They're great chapters. Going back to this. Of course, if the Alter Rebbe is telling us that we can do it, it's an open pathway for us to be able to do it. Now, V'yeser al Ken, another klal, by the way. More on this. Tzarech leida klal gadol b'avoda lebeinim. We have a new klal. This is a klal gadol that we have to know. Shagam im ein yad sechel v'ruach b'nasa maseges balad avos Hashem b'eskal libo rak ava misteres b'mochav salam libo. This is something very important for Beinoni to know, and this is what this whole chapter focuses on. Even if someone, they engage in the intellectual contemplation, you've done all the steps. As far as I'm sitting, I think about God, it's going to listen to emotion, I study, I learn stuff, I think about God a lot, but I don't feel it in my heart. As in, it hasn't actually materialized as an emotion in the heart. Not apathy. We're not talking about apathy. We're talking about someone who actually wants to feel it. They're engaging and they're excited about the intellectual contemplation. Hey, we're going to go study or whatever. But the feeling of Ava and Yira in their heart, that's supposed to infuse all the mitzvahs after that, it's not happening. It's not materializing. There seems to be something that's going on there. On the one hand, side parentheses, which is a note in the chapter, is that there's this whole Kabbalistic thing about that's because their neshama is here versus here. This thing about they get stuck in like the Eber stage, so they're stuck in the pregnancy stage and not stuck in the birth stage, where the neshama comes out of the hole. Look it up on your own. I'm not going to do it here. I'm just telling you that it exists. Like, here now, we're introducing something very important. It's called avatuna, tvuna love. So what is that? That's when the mind gets to a place of intellectual love, but that intellectual love does not manifest as an emotional kind of love. So we call it an intellectual emotion versus an emotive emotion. The Alter Rebbe says, this stage is also good. This stage is still good for the Beinoni to have reached this. Because I've sat and I've done the contemplation and I've done the study, so I know, I'm convinced that God should be served with love and joy. I'm convinced of it. I know that God is the answer. Torah mitzvahs are it. So ready for all this sort of stuff. But when I'm actually not going to set about doing it, the avenir is not there. There's something not happening that I'm not actually feeling in my heart. So first of all, the Alter Rebbe is assuring, don't worry, this is also good for you to get there. The utter conviction of the mind. This is the chiddush now we're going to get to. When the mind is resolute in serving Hashem as is fitting, but despite this, it doesn't materialize in the heart, the tavuna, which is the intellectual emotion, becomes the wings and the life for thought, speech, and action. It's interesting the description it gives that a person who's like this, that they've reached the intellectual stage, but it hasn't gotten into the emotion. It says like the soul is like the living widow in the body. It doesn't have placement. It feels detached. So that's why also the Alter Rebbe says, don't worry, you're in a good place here, and this is good for you as the Beinoni to be in this place. But machshavat tova kadosh baruch hu mitzarfa l'maaseh. A good thought Hashem joins, connects to deed. So what is that supposed to mean? It should say, Malav akasav kilo asa. I had a good thought to do something and I really wanted to write the check, and then something happened financially or whatever that I couldn't write out the check. I had the checkbook open, I had the pen ready. People even write checks anymore? I had the Cash App open, I was ready to send the money, and then something happened and I didn't have the money to send anymore, or whatever it is. God says, oh, this is if you did a thing, so it said Malav akasav kilo asa. But it doesn't say that. It says mitzarfa. It's not, oh, the Torah says, oh, you've done it. It says mitzarfa, that it connects it, which is very interesting phraseology to have used. Machshavat tova, what's the machshavat tova? That's d'chilu v'rechima shebesvunas mochav samas libo. Machshavat tova, what is the good thought? D'chilu v'rechima, that's the love and the fear, the av and the yira, that's within the deepest recesses of the heart. As in, the Beinoni has reached the intellectual conclusion through study, meditation, contemplation, etc., fully convinced of service of God. God, yes, he's totally on board, he's totally convinced. However, the love and the fear is somewhere tucked deep somewhere within his heart, and it's not materializing. Not materializing so it can feel it, so it can become the Ava and the Yira. What are the Ava and the Yira? Those are the wings of the bird. A bird is kosher if it doesn't have wings. It just can't fly. So your mitzvah is a kosher mitzvah without Ava and Yira. But if we wanted to reach higher heights, which before you ask the question, we get into this more in later chapters when we talk about kavana. But a mitzvah is like the body of a bird. What are the wings of the bird? Ava and Yira. Now, a bird is kosher without wings, but it can't fly. We do the mitzvah, it's a great spiritual thing that occurs. But if we also want to be able to affect in the higher realms and also draw down from the higher realms, it needs wings. Those wings are Ava and Yira. The feeling, the deep love of God and the deep fear, awe of God that we infuse with the mitzvah, that's what raises the mitzvah higher. So you can think also that we spoke about how a tzaddik has the same mitzvahs as everybody else. He doesn't have different mitzvahs. The tzaddik's experience of a mitzvah is going to be different than somebody else's experience of a mitzvah. Largely, a lot of that has to do with, of course, with the level he's at, and obviously there's much more that he could put into the mitzvah, even though it's the same mitzvah. We're considering that I would want my mitzvah to be something that could soar higher, affect in the higher realms, be more than just get stuck here. They said that the Baal Shem Tov once walked in a German shul. I don't know if it was in Germany itself or it was just a shul of a bunch of Germans. So they're a bunch of yekkas. So he walks in like, wow, this whole room is full of tefillos. Thank you. That's not what I meant by that. This whole room is full of tefillos because they're all stuck here. You have to put emotion into something if you want it to soar up. If not, it just gets stuck down in this world. So sure, it affects the world. You did the mitzvah. We don't want it to just be contained within the world. We want it to affect in the higher realms. And also because, again, it draws down from the higher realms. What are the wings? Av and Yira. A Beinoni is trying to reach that. He said, I have the mitzvah, but I don't have Av and Yira. It's not manifesting. It's not material. It's not being infused in the stuff that I'm doing. The Alter Rebbe says, if you have the conviction in your mind, and you know without doubt, my thought, speech, and action are all supposed to be aligned with God. Everything is supposed to be aligned with Torah mitzvahs. And I know it for certain. There's not a doubt, and do not convince me otherwise. I've reached the conclusion, and I know that this is absolute. But for some reason, it's just not, it feels like it's stuck in the heart. You know, something gets caught in your throat, it's like stuck somewhere in the heart. Why is it not coming out? Why is it not flowing? So the Alter Rebbe says, if you've reached this intellectually, you have what's called the intellectual love. So tvuna, ava tvuna. In regard to this, we have the pasuk that says, "Machshava tova kadosh baruch hu mitzarfa l'maaseh." God connects it to a good deed. So what does it mean connects? Because God takes this machshava tova, this conviction, the intellectual conviction that you have in your mind, the intellectual emotion you've created in your mind, and He turns those into the wings for your mitzvah. Those become the ava and yira. That's what it means that He connects it. He connects the wings to the bird. You already have the bird, and God is now putting wings onto your bird for you. Because intellectually you've reached it. You're there. This is actually from one of the notes. It says, "Tvuna osios ban bas shein dechile v'rechimu." The word tvuna, it has the letters of ben and bas, the beis and the nun and the beis and the tav. Ben and bas, the son and daughter, the children. Going all the way back to chapter 3, what are the children of intellect? The children of intellect are emotion. And what are the two primary children of intellect are Av and Yira. The whole right side is Av, the whole left side is Yira. Av and Yira in general, we focus on a lot. Those are considered the parent emotions of all other emotions. Because Av, everything is that I want to do for you, and Yira is all the things that I'm going to hold back from doing. Because it's saying everything stems from either wanting to do or not wanting to do. And Ava is wanting to do, and Yira is not wanting to do. Especially here in service of God, it says everything comes from that. Remember our 4 worlds? We have Atzilus, B'riyah, Tzira, and Asiyah. We're in the physical realm of Asiyah. So when we do a mitzvah, if there's nothing behind it, it kind of stays within the world of Asiyah, sort of. If we could tap into the natural love and fear that we have, we talk about an inborn love and fear that all Jewish people have. So if the mitzvahs are stemming from that, they could go up to the world of Yetzirah. Here's the world of emotion. When the love and fear that we have, the emotions are intellectually based, as in it's not just something that I felt, but it's something that I reached intellectually, and then it became an emotion. It goes all the way up to the world of Bria. That's where this all translates, of wings and the birds and sort of stuff. Hashem will make sure he connects it. Hashem will make sure that because intellectually we're there, it doesn't materialize in the heart, and it just stays within the deep crevices of the heart. Hashem will give our mitzvah the wings it needs to fly up to the higher realms. It could go all the way up to Bria, go to Yitzira. Hashem will give it the wings to go up, to rise up to higher realms, which also elicits from higher realms in return. Without God doing that for us, it wouldn't necessarily have happened. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mitzarfa. That's actually basically this chapter. Now, this is something, I think it was actually my dad spoke about this once before. Sometimes I'm like, oh, let me remember this speech so I can mark it down. The Navi Elisha. We have a story about how the widow once comes to him. She says, I don't have anything left in the house. He says, get a bunch of jugs of oil, and then you got to pour. And the oil kept pouring as long as there was something to pour to, and then she was able to sell it. The story from Navi, they say it was the widow of Avadia. Avadia, who hid all the Nevi'im, not just physical cost to himself, but a great material cost, because he sustained them all. Zeval, they were trying to kill them all. So Avadia saved them. When he was gone, his widow goes down to Elisha and says, my husband did all this kind of stuff. I don't got anything left, and they're coming after my 2 sons. They're coming to get us. What does Elisha say? What do you have left in your house? I only have a small cruse. I only have a small jug of oil left in my house. Okay, borrow as many pots and pans or whatever you could, as many jugs you can, start pouring and keep pouring. That's what Elisha says. Then a whole miracle happens. She pours it as long as she has to pour, and all of a sudden she has so much oil, she can sell it now and she's sustained. Chassidic take on this. This is how it connects to this. We look at this. Who's the woman that's coming? The woman is our neshama. Our neshama goes to God, and it says, your servant has died. What does it mean? I'm not with it, I'm not feeling it. The intellect is gone. And they're coming for your 2 sons. What are the 2 sons? Love and fear. They're coming for the offshoots of the intellect. They're coming for the emotions also. I feel so out of it. I feel so disconnected and detached that not only is my mind not in it, but my emotions are going to be gone too. What do you have left in the house? Your neshama is just a little spark of God. That's what you got left. Borrow vessels and start pouring. What do you have in the house? You still have a spark of God within you. What do you have to do? You have to start doing. You have to start acting. And when you'll start acting and you will start doing, then eventually it's all going to come back. It will happen. But it's not about sitting and, oh no, we say, what are we supposed to do? You have to start acting. And through your actions, you can awaken and reignite and refine the love and the fear. You keep pouring, you keep pouring, you keep pouring. They go on with Simon, and they go into the street, and they find someone and say, hey, do you want to put on tefillin? They're all like, hey, do you want to discuss the philosophical and the spiritual effects of putting on phylacteries? They don't say that. Least of all, because nobody knows what the hell phylacteries are. Why do they even call it phylacteries? They don't say, hey, do you want to go into the philosophical discussion of putting on tefillin? No, they say, let's put on tefillin. Let's do something. Let's do an action. And through this action, they hope and intend to awaken a feeling of like, hey, that was nice, I should do that again. Or, hey, that was nice, let me find out more about this. Hey, that's cool, I felt something then. The assurance that the action, you keep acting and you keep doing it with intent, it will lead to the igniting and the refining of the emotions. And obviously then with the intellect and everything else to follow. It comes in from a different aspect, but it's kind of the same thing we're talking about here. No, and I don't know if we've seen it Tanya, because the whole punchline of Tanya, as in after we do all Likutei Amarim, it does get to the end of the day, just act, because we need the mitzvahs done, and we're not waiting around for everyone to get to the ideal state before doing the mitzvah. But even though that's the punchline, the goal of Tanya is still to get ourselves there using the intellect to influence, channel, create emotions for the Torah mitzvahs. That kind of is more like what we just said here, which I just took from somewhere else and brought it in here. Just because you're not feeling it, you got to act. Here in this particular case, if you're there intellectually, God will create the connection to the emotions. The other thing that we're talking about is that acting to elicit emotion. So we're talking about someone like, look, I'm still a human being. You told me my nefesh habahamis is still strong. So where's my fiery, burning, passionate love? Where is it? And I did everything correctly. So why is my heart not consumed in this passion? Said I'm still passionate about the Yankees, whatever it is. Out there I'm saying, don't worry, you're still good. Because when this is all genuine and you've done it all right, there's just something, just not letting that deep love come out there, but it's not manifesting, materializing. Don't worry, God's going to take care of it. God sees what you've done. He's going to give your mitzvah the wings.